Right now at 6, an avalanche leaves nearly a dozen skiers missing in the Sierra, and this brutal winter storm hindering the search for survivors, plus rain, wind, and most of all lightning causing damage around the Bay Area. We'll hear from a stud neighbor after a strike knocked out power to her home.
The whole neighborhood, everybody's going earthquake, earthquake, but then the explosion was just too loud.
And a rainy start to the year of the fire horse, but the weather can't stop the Lunar New Year celebrations in San Francisco's Chinatown. And later, Bay Area leaders mourning a civil rights icon, why they say Reverend Jesse Jackson's message of unity redefined the Democratic Party.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening on this first alert weather day. I'm Sarah Donchie. Juliette has the night off. People around the Bay Area are dealing with the damage from stormy weather. It's pounded the region over the past 2 days, definitely strong out there earlier. In the Sierra, the storm is putting lives at risk. Right now, search crews are looking for 10 skiers who went missing after a backcountry avalanche. This was in the area of Castle Peak, a little west of Truckee and just across I-80 from Boreal Ski Resort. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office says a total of 16 skiers were caught up in this avalanche. 6 of the skiers are alive and accounted for, and they have been told to shelter in place until rescue crews can get to them. The other 10 skiers in the group are still missing. The Sierra Avalanche Center says it was a large to very large avalanche that happened at an elevation of 8,200 feet, and weather conditions are highly dangerous. Officials say the rescue will be slow and careful.
It's going to be slow going. We have brought in snowcats. We have snowmobilers on standby. We have individuals on skis. So we have several different ways that people are attempting to get in there. It's just going to be a slow, tedious process.
46 emergency responders are currently involved in the rescue effort. Complicating matters, there's still the threat of more avalanches. All day long, CHP has been sharing videos showing why it is a terrible idea to drive to or from Tahoe right now. Impossible, dare I say. This is along I-80 near Donner Summit, not too far from where the avalanche happened. A 70-mile stretch of the interstate shut down both directions from Colfax to the Nevada state line. Conditions are horrific out there. Meantime, we are tracking the impact of the weather here at home. We've got Katie Nielsen and Kelsey Thor live around the Bay Area. We do begin our team coverage, though, with Zoe Mintz with a look at the storm. There's been wind, lightning, even low snow. The sound of this one really stood out from previous storms. It was loud and really intense rain sometimes.
It was a very powerful storm system. It had a lot of hail, it had lightning, it had strong winds. So yeah, it was loud. Waking up early this morning, I actually woke up to hail on my window in downtown San Francisco. And that hail accumulated in some locations. What also is accumulated is the snow. The reason that there's avalanche warnings in effect, basically from Lake Tahoe through southern the Sierra. There is going to be an additional 2 to 3 feet of snow on top of what's already fallen, and that's going to create widespread issues. Tonight, large avalanches are likely, according to the National Weather Service, which is why there is going to be those very dangerous conditions through early tomorrow morning as the storm system continues to push farther and farther south. It will weaken as it does so, which is good news, but we still have another about 12 hours to get through until that happens. So up until then, it will be very, very windy. It'll be very, very rainy. Follow along timestamp, bottom right corner of the screen. A brief break Wednesday before another storm system heads our way into early Thursday morning and brings another dose of heavy, heavy snow over the Sierra and brings some of that snow potentially our way. Luckily, there is going to be a couple of days of dry weather. Friday and Saturday should be good to go. But look at what happens by Sunday. Another heavy wave of rain will be arriving. This active weather pattern sticks around through the end of the month. I'll break down all the details that you need to know coming up in just a bit. Back to you, Sarah.
Lightning and thunder surprised a lot of people around the East Bay this morning. One Walnut Creek neighborhood dealing with the direct impact. That is where we find our Katie Nielsen. So Katie, what happened over there?
Yeah, Sarah, as you can see from some of the videos we've already been showing you, lots of thunder, lots of lightning, and here on Elmwood Court, a massive redwood tree struck by lightning. PG&E crews still out here right now. That's because when the tree came down across the power lines. And the people who live here said it was so loud, it sounded like a bomb just went off.
We're okay. We have some damage and Mike has a little bit of damage, but like I'm still shaking.
Christine Mitroff spent the morning talking with concerned neighbors about what happened when the storm rolled over their homes on Elmwood Court.
We heard several claps of thunder, and then all of a sudden, the whole house lit up white. And we ran outside, and we just saw one branch down in the driveway.
She's talking about what happened when this 85-year-old redwood tree that stood more than 120 feet tall was struck by lightning around 7:40 this morning.
The house shook, the whole neighborhood, everybody's going earthquake, earthquake, but then the explosion was just too loud. And we had transformers go out before, but not like this. This shook your core.
She says about 5 minutes after the initial strike, the tree split and massive branches and pieces of the trunk landed in yards and mostly in the road, taking down power lines when it fell. PG&E crews arrived on scene to start the repair work, but cut down and removed the tree first.
Nice little hailstorm going on here.
Kenneth Finch posted this video to Facebook of hail coming down immediately after the thunderstorm. And in Concord, another viewer caught this river of water coming off the roof. Doorbell cameras in the area also caught the early morning light show, and this Nest video caught a long, loud clap of thunder.
Right here.
Further south on 680, a massive oak tree came down across Happy Valley Road near Pleasanton-Sunol Road around 10:30 this morning. Public Works crews made quick work of getting it cleaned up and out of the roadway around 2 o'clock this afternoon. But back over in Walnut Creek, the tree cleanup continued as Christine watched with the neighbors.
Something that happens in the movies, maybe. That's why I watch Hallmark.
Now, PG&E crews still working on trying to get the remnants of that tree back down. Power restored to this neighborhood probably about 5, maybe 10 minutes ago, but they need to make sure that the rest of that tree is below the level of the power lines before they leave, just to make sure that in a strong wind, they don't have more problems with that tree, since they know now it's already unstable.
Thank you, Katie. It was a similar story in Santa Rosa, but this time a preschool had to shut down for the day after lightning struck a redwood tree on the school's property, shattering it to pieces. The roof of one of the buildings at Woodside West School was partially damaged. Debris found as far as 150 feet away from the stump. Luckily, the rest of the school was untouched.
The lightning hits the tree. The water that is inside of the tree, because they suck up so much water daily, becomes a combustible area, and the steam from the water is what actually blows the tree up.
School officials expect classes to resume tomorrow. So here's a look at PG&E's online outage map, the utility as of 5 o'clock this evening. More than 1,700 homes and businesses, they say, are without power throughout the Bay Area. Mostly smaller, spotty outages. These yellow squares that you see show areas where more than 50 customers are without power. And the storm also created a mess for people who are flying in and out of the Bay. According to data from FlightAware, the weather has delayed 250 flights at SFO. San Jose Mineta has seen 84 delays. Oakland has had 73 so far. We will, of course, stay on top of all the stormy weather hitting the Bay Area this week. For First Alert Weather anytime, be sure to check the free CBS News app or our website, kpix.com. The stormy weather did not stop thousands of people from celebrating the start of the Year of the Horse. Our Kelsey Thor joins us live from Chinatown in San Francisco, where the crowds had a good time ringing in the Lunar New Year.
Yeah, Sarah, they did, really. Despite the downpour of rain that was happening here this afternoon, it did not put out any of the firecrackers that have been going off here in Chinatown all day. And as you said, hundreds of people came out here for these celebrations. The pouring rain couldn't put a damper on Lunar New Year celebrations in San Francisco's Chinatown. Hundreds of people braved the elements to ring in the Year of the Fire Horse.
The fire adds unpredictability. It's like a rocket boost. So that means our economy is going to go even faster, right, Mr. Mayor? Yes, sir.
From the mayor to state and local leaders, dignitaries representing a variety of city interests took part in the celebration. And people from across the country, even the world, were there to witness.
I hope more and more people from all over the world can learn more about Chinese New Year.
This is Huang Yi Shou and his family's first time celebrating the New Year in San Francisco. We also met Li Wen and Darshil Patel, who specifically came to San Francisco from Kansas City.
to partake in all the festivities.
It's the oldest Chinatown, most established, so we just want to check it out.
Like so many spectators, Lee and Darshall came prepared as best they could in their ponchos. Through the rain, lion dancers and a massive golden dragon led the crowd to the middle of Kearny Street for the lighting of traditional firecrackers.
I really like the dragon dance, so I usually go to see that, and then especially the fireworks. I didn't know they were gonna have those, so just watching that was pretty cool.
The event capped off with the handing out of traditional red envelopes to spectators of all ages. It's a year so many people hope will be filled with prosperity and good fortune. And for some we spoke with, they've already got big plans.
I'm preparing for my driving license and do my SSN.
Now, Sarah Nee there, the guy that said that he's preparing to get his driver's license. This is actually his first year in the U.S. He moved here about a month ago, and it was really cool to see so many people from all over the U.S. and across the country who are coming out here specifically for the Lunar New Year celebrations. And they were not going to let any weather stop them. Many of them continue. They say they're going to continue to come out here for all of the events leading up, of course, to the parade on March 7th.
All right, Kelsey, thank you. Still ahead here at 6, the Bay Area, remembering Reverend Jesse Jackson, why those who knew him well say his message will endure long past his death today at the age of 84.
Jesse was just pure, unadulterated, natural. And that's what made him so unique.
Plus, why hundreds of workers walked off the job at CSU campuses across the state. People around the world are honoring Reverend Jesse Jackson. The civil rights icon died peacefully this morning at the age of 84. Jackson championed a number of specific causes right here in the Bay Area, touching countless lives in the process. Our John Ramos spoke with some influential local leaders about the legacy he leaves behind.
During his life, the Reverend Jesse Jackson went from fiery political activist to presidential candidate to elder statesman. But through it all, his unwavering support of the downtrodden is a message that has always resonated here in the Bay Area.
Jesse Jackson with his sons behind him on the podium.
When Reverend Jesse Jackson addressed the 1984 Democratic National Convention in San Francisco, he knew he had no chance at the nomination. But some say the speech redefined the Democratic Party itself.
My constituency is the desperate, the damned, the disinherited, the disrespected, and the despised. They are restless and seek relief.
He compared the country to a multicolored quilt held together by a common thread and demanded that the Democratic Party be more inclusive in its political direction. In the crowd that night was current Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee, then a young activist who would go on to a political career of her own.
He was a person that people, ordinary folks, looked up to, and he had integrity and he had legitimacy. And that speech caused people who didn't think that democracy was working for them, caused a lot of folks to pause and say, well, maybe it does. And he pushed the Democratic Party to be more democratic.
In 1968, he was by Dr. Martin Luther King's side just moments before the assassin's bullet took his life. But earlier that year, Jackson had come to Oakland to encourage a boycott of supermarkets.
We will stick out as long as it is necessary in order for hungry people to be fed.
Some felt Jackson became the nation's leading voice for African Americans. But Pastor Emeritus Amos Brown at San Francisco's Third Baptist Church said he went far beyond that.
He was not just concerned about black people, but about the human rights of all people.
In his early days, Jackson aligned himself with the humanist message being preached by the Reverend Cecil Williams at San Francisco's Glide Memorial Church.
He spoke here in 1972, and he was friends with Reverend Cecil Williams. And, you know, together, I believe, in their own ways, they created a blueprint for belonging to this movement.
Jackson had other visits to the Bay Area, including giving a speech to inmates at the San Bruno jail, and later in life at San Francisco's Chinatown after the 2021 attacks on Asian elders. There, he reminded the people of his famous mantra.
I am somebody. I am
somebody.
Jackson never actually won office, and the Bay Area's political godfather, Willie Brown, said his greatest electoral weakness was his willingness to always speak his mind.
He was not the kind of traditional politician because he was never tactful in his utterances. And whatever he said it, period, no matter who was listening.
But America was always listening, whether it agreed with Jesse Jackson or not. And as a result, the country and the Bay Area has lost someone worth listening to.
Give me your tithe, give me your poor, your huddled masses who yearn to breathe free. And come November, there will be a change because our time has come. Thank you and God bless you.
Mayor Lee stayed close with Jackson for decades. This morning, she actually mentioned that he performed her son's wedding years ago at Mills College, and she was able to take her family to visit him in Chicago this past December. Trade workers have kicked off a strike across multiple Cal State campuses. The Teamsters Union says CSU backed away from promised raises in last year's contract. CSU blames state funding and offered a one-time payment instead. They say they're committed to continuing negotiations. Campuses will stay open throughout the 4-day strike. Coming up, this winter storm brought more than a dusting of snow to Bay Area peaks. Zoe will be back with the full forecast. We know snow has covered the Sierra, but take a look. This is video from near the Lick Observatory on Mount Hamilton this afternoon, and good timing for the observatory. It was just about 2 weeks ago they finished building the temporary cover after another storm on Christmas Day ripped out a chunk of the dome. Zoe, the snow is really working its way to those lower elevations this time.
Yeah, and we are going to be seeing actually our first winter weather advisory in the Bay Area since 2023. So it's been 3 years since this cold and moist of a system has moved overhead. That's what these areas in blue are. All across the Santa Clara Hills and down towards San Benito County, we're expecting upwards of 4 to 8 inches on the highest elevations. That's above 3,000 feet. At 3,000 feet or below, we could still potentially be seeing a dusting, but not really expecting much accumulation. North, though, that's where we saw that snow falling up near Lake County. We've seen already a good amount of snow, and an additional 8 inches is likely. The reason that a winter storm warning is in effect, and look at how much lower the snow level is. It's above 2,000 feet versus above 3,000 feet. And there is actually the chance for about 1,500 feet to also get accumulating snow. So Ukiah, you might see up to 2 to 3 inches of accumulating snow by the time things are all said and done tomorrow. Hey, that's because this system is a cold weather one. And it's really interesting that we're already beginning to see that cold air making its way in. So most of the day today, it's just been rainfall. But if we look at the Santa Clara Hills, highest elevations right now, I think it's probably above 3,500 feet. That area in purple on our radar, that's snow falling, and that is going to get more and more widespread as that snow level continues to lower and lower over the next several days. So yes, it is going to get chilly overnight tonight. It's actually the reason that we do have cold weather alerts in effect through early tomorrow morning, because in the wake of this storm system, very, very cold air is going to be in place. This is through tonight, where again, we're going to see those snow levels dropping, and we're going to be seeing that accumulating snow on the highest elevations of the Santa Clara Hills, and maybe even on the highest elevations of the Santa Cruz Mountains. But the Santa Cruz Mountains definitely not expecting as much accumulation as those farther inland mountains. By early tomorrow morning, this is waking up 6 a.m. There still is going to be some rain in the lower elevations in places along the peninsula, but the biggest issue is going to be the cold weather. There is going to be widespread mid to lower 30s across the Bay Area and low 40s along our coastal communities. Again, this is probably the coldest air that we've seen so far this season. It is going to be very, very cold. And again, it doesn't take a whole lot of elevation to see those even chillier temperatures. Once it gets below 32, that's when the rain transitions to snow. So yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot to actually see that widespread activity. This is tomorrow afternoon. Let's replay it so you can actually see timestamp bottom right corner of the screen. Early morning hours definitely going to be more active than the early afternoon hours. So tomorrow afternoon, it's actually going to be a pretty pleasant afternoon when it comes to dry weather, but it's going to be cold. Those highs are going to be in the low 50s all across the Bay Area. So keep that in mind. You got to grab that warm jacket to start off the day and keep it handy throughout tomorrow afternoon, and enjoy the dry time while you can, because by late tomorrow evening, there's going to be another wave of rain and more snow to come along with it as well. That's going to stick around overnight Wednesday and into early Thursday morning, then quieting down by Thursday afternoon and evening before our next storm system will be heading our way by the upcoming weekend. There is going to be a lot of dry time in between it, though. So by Friday and Saturday, those will be the 2 days to actually get out and enjoy yourself, enjoy the quieter conditions. Today, though, again, that storm system, the heaviest of the rain, the lightning, all of that activity that we saw this morning, it's actually heading towards San Luis Obispo right now. The drier air is in its wake, and we're going to begin to see that calming weather overnight tonight and into early tomorrow, and those very chilly temperatures along with it. Tomorrow afternoon, it will be breezy, not windy, but by early Thursday morning, that's when we'll be seeing those gusts upwards of 30 to 40 miles an hour as that next storm system heads our way. Over the next 12 hours, we'll be seeing 12 to 18 inches of snow across the Sierra on top of the 2 to 3 feet that they've already seen. And then by the time that we step out Thursday and Friday, an additional 1 to 2 feet on top of that. Accumulation totals upwards of 6 to 8 feet. That is some really, really impressive snow. They need the snow. But unfortunately, that does create the avalanche concerns because of how quickly it's falling on top of icy conditions. Thursday is going to be a weather alert day because it's going to be pretty windy waking up in the morning hours, calming down by Friday and Saturday. And then by Sunday and Monday, another storm system bringing us more first alert weather days. This active weather pattern sticking around likely through the end of February. So appreciate and enjoy the few peaks of sunshine while you can. Back to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Zoe. When we come back, a Vietnamese spin on the Lunar New Year celebrations in San Jose. We've talked about Lunar New Year, but tonight also marks the start of Ramadan. For the next month, Muslims around the world will be marking the occasion by fasting from sunrise to sundown. Meantime, tonight is also Mardi Gras, which kicks off 40 days of Lent for Christians around the world. It's celebrated in essentially the exact opposite way as Ramadan. Large parties filled with feasting and drinking. And here in the Bay Area, Lunar New Year festivities are in full swing. Earlier today, San Jose held a flag raising the ceremony for the Tet, the Vietnamese Lunar New Year. The city has the largest Vietnamese population outside of Vietnam. Local leaders spoke at today's ceremony, calling the new year a time for family, remembering ancestors, and celebrating Vietnamese freedom and cultural heritage. The CBS Evening News is next on KPIX. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're back here in 30 minutes with CBS News Bay Area at 7.